Josh, thank you for joining us for this quick code idea. Today we are going to talk about virtualization, more specifically Red Hat OpenShift Virtualization. So let's do a quick deep tech dive on it. What is it? What is OpenShift Virtualization?
Sure, it's a native capability to run virtual machines inside of OpenShift, all based on Kubernetes, following these modern approaches. Now, what people often don't know is that Red Hat's been in this market for so long when it comes to OpenShift. Kubernetes actually recently turned 10 years old, and Red Hat was involved in open sourcing of Borg and then turned into Kubernetes. And Red Hat's been is the forward market leader in the Kubernetes space with OpenShift. Red Hat also acquired a company called Kubernetes many years ago that open sourced this little virtualization capability called KVM that actually happens to be the heart of the foundation of every major public cloud. So Red Hat pulled these things together. We had separate products for virtualization, and Red Hat decided to merge them together so you can support virtual machines, containers, and other workload types as well in one common software-defined infrastructure.
Now, having KVM and containers and Red Hat OpenShift Virtualization, what is the best part for customers and for the end users in it, folks who are actually day-to-day using it?
Well, I'd say actually step back from, if you look at any major firm, there's ongoing fragmentation of what you have to access and the way you deploy things. So you might have your traditional virtualization, you're being pushed to the public cloud. You might have your Kubernetes-based application platforms. You might still have other options out there like Cloud Foundry still in your walls too. Each one of those has a different paradigm for how you deploy your application, connect them together, and be able to get data where it needs to go at the capacity it needs to be. So OpenShift Virtualization really provides one common, bare metal software-defined infrastructure to deploy a platform that can host virtual machines, containers, all integrated with software-defined networking and software-defined storage as well. And that's what leads to that speed and agility that you need, is not working through 5 different tool chains to deploy one application. Being able to have one way of doing things in a unified infrastructure that give you the capabilities that you need and the really infrastructure as code-driven deployments that you're truly looking for, and not having to jump between new and old worlds.
You talked a bit about agility. Talk to me also about resiliency.
Yeah, resilience. This is where it gets really interesting when it comes to Kubernetes. Historically, if you run a virtualization platform, that infrastructure is kind of watching over a virtual machine, making sure that it stays live at all points in times, as well as the network connectivity to that and the storage behind it, watching for errors or issues, and automatically taking those things over. Now, Kubernetes supercharges this. Kubernetes is basically just a really small kernel in nature, and it's watching this desired state and trying to always make it meet the current state and trying to make it meet the desired state in the end. So as this software-defined infrastructure, OpenShift provides this ability with kind of Kubernetes at its core to extend the capabilities that you need to provide the resilience and capacity that you need. Even extend that platform for your business specific or infrastructure use cases.
Fantastic. I asked you earlier today what one of your favorite questions is, and what question gets asked the most. And you mentioned it was kind of, well, isn't OpenShift PaaS? And I had to chuckle a bit because part of that's probably my fault. Back in the day when we first had OpenShift in the previous versions before containerization, that's what it was. It was a platform as a service. And changing that mindset. And then we had relaunched OpenShift in kind of the more modern forms it is today. Tell us a bit about why it's not just a PaaS.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you, Emily. I think it's the market conditions that there was, Cloud Foundry. It was very developer centric, and a lot of people wanted something to deploy microservices in a much faster way. And OpenShift was a direct competitor in that space as well. But when OpenShift really started in version 3, we kind of put Kubernetes as the core. And the history of that was that Google's Borg platform was the bare metal infrastructure to deploy any type of workload through their environment. And so we built something that is actually software-defined infrastructure, and we brought it to the point where we're deployed under mass scale grid computation and trading systems, and all sorts of other use under data analytics and AI use cases that really are the base infrastructure, not something just on top of it. And we don't constrain the way that you deploy your applications. It's not only for microservices. Red Hat's ecosystem of prepackaged COTS applications and install on the platform is providing that base infrastructure for really any type of use case, as well as blending newer microservices you might create with the virtual machine estate that you have that wants to take benefit from this new way of operating, this metadata driven, this infrastructure as code driven type environment.
Perfect. Well, thanks for joining, Josh. That wraps up this edition of Quick Code Ideas. We hope you will join us for other future sessions. And if you have any questions, let us know. Feel free to reach out to Josh or myself, and we're happy to help you. Have a great day.